Welcome. You are tuning into Around the Table with the Judges podcast presented by PropertyGuru Property Report, the official magazine of Asia Property Awards and Asia Real Estate Summit. Now, in this special series, you will meet the notable names behind our independent judging panel across our 14 awards markets in 12 countries. Together, we will dive into the nitty-gritty of the judging process, as well as figure out why they are the most deserving to judge the leading industry players. Hello, everyone. My name is Tina Ryan, and thanks once again for tuning in to another episode of our Judges podcast. Last time we had a very insightful chat with our Malaysian judges. This time around, we will meet the highly respected judges of the PropertyGuru Asia Property Awards India and PropertyGuru Asia Property Awards Sri Lanka. To begin, our judges will introduce themselves, starting with our chairpersons, Amit and Nirmal.
Hi everyone, my name is Nirmal De Silva and I have the privilege of representing the beautiful sunny island of Sri Lanka as his chairperson of the judging panel. I've been associated with PropertyGuru over the last 5 years since the inception of the awards in Sri Lanka. And over the years, we've been able to really showcase some of Sri Lanka's best projects. In fact, a few of those projects also became the best of the best in the region at the Gala event held in multiple countries, including Singapore and Thailand. So looking forward for another edition this year as well, amidst all the economic turmoil and the pandemic impact and so forth, to still showcase some of Sri Lanka's finest real estate projects.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmal. May we have Sir Amit?
Hi everyone. My name is Amit Khanna. I am the managing director of Phoenix Advisors, and I'm honored to be the chair of the India jury panel. My colleagues Ajay and Shradha are also with us today on this panel. We've been part of this forum from the time PropertyGuru decided to come to India, and we've been able to, in a short period of time, most of which overlapped with COVID, been able to have some entries participate in the India Property Award Show as well as the Asia Property Award Show. India, as you know, is a diverse country. It's actually an amalgamation of several states. Each state brings with it its own culture, its own heritage, which is also reflected in architecture and design. And I think the country's contribution towards the Asia Pacific property platform is going to be immense in the coming future.
Hi, my name is Ajay Kapoor and I am from Mumbai. I run a property brokerage firm by the name of 360 Degrees, which focuses on premium and luxury properties only. I'm also part of a real estate association, which is for brokers, and I head that association in the capacity of a secretary. That's a brief background from my side. I'm really happy to be part of the PropertyGuru Awards, and I'm looking forward to judging it for this year too. Thank you.
Glad to have you on board. Sir Nandika.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nandika Samaranayaka. I'm a chartered architect with over 25 years experience, and I'm the principal architect and director of ACS Integrated, which is an architectural firm that was established about 12 years back. And I've had the fortune of actually being closely associated with some very interesting projects, including high-rises and Maldivian resorts and some five-star hotel projects in Sri Lanka. And of course, some institutional and office buildings. And we also do some residential work. So it's a wide spectrum, but I think that helps, especially in this sort of duty.
Thank you, sir. And finally, the only rose among the thorns.
Hi, my name is Shraddha Mittal. I am the founder and managing director of Resettle. We're a global mobility company where we work with corporates and multinationals for setting up their companies in India, as well as for any of their movement within the countries. And as part of this, within the real estate side for these corporations, we look at the commercial leasing, we look at the high-end residential leasing, and hence have been part of the real estate market now for a decent amount of time. And as Amit mentioned, it's been interesting being a judge for Asia Property Guru for 2 years now. And we're a diverse country. And of course, as a result of that, our design philosophy varies across the diversity that we provide in our country from location to location. So excited for this year as well. We should have some great entries and a lot of interesting projects to look at.
Thank you. Now, judges, for the first question. The Property Guru Asia Property Awards program has helped promote real estate excellence in India and Sri Lanka for several years now, thanks to the dedication of our independent panel of judges. Now, before we talk about what's going on behind the scenes, can you explain to our audience, what is it that you do as a judge? Dr. Nirmal, one of our chairpersons, please go ahead.
Well, the most simplest answer for that is we have the privilege of judging great real estate projects and developments. That's the most simplified facade, so to say. But behind the scenes, there is a lot of effort that is being put in, as you very rightly mentioned, by the independent panel of judges who come from diverse backgrounds and years of experience and that wealth of knowledge that they bring to the table in order to judge essentially on three very large criteria: the development, the developer, and then the design part of any project. So, of course, this comes under various other categories, from the track record to the design ethos to architecture, the project management side, etc., etc. But nevertheless, I think it's a rigorous process. It is a well thought out, unbiased approach in which Property Guru has been running this. I think that's why it's the pinnacle of all real estate awards in the region. And there is a lot of deliberations that go through, especially because of the complexities involved in various projects and the operational dynamics involved as well. So to answer your question, that's the more difficult part. The easiest part is where we all applaud the award winners at the end of the program.
So I think Dr. Silva said it really well. What I would like to add is that because of the diversity on the panel of judges, what's also unique to the evaluation process is that everyone brings in their own perspective on how they view the project. And while we are sitting as judges and evaluating who will win each category, there is a lot for us to also learn from each other and learn from each other's perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Anybody else would like to jump in? For Ms. Shraddha?
Sure. I think what's interesting also as a result of being a judge is learning about all the interesting projects that are coming about across the country, and getting exposure to the new developments, whether it's related to design, whether it's related to sustainability, and just the work from home concept that evolved a few years ago, how that is being integrated. So it's been a very interesting journey alongside to see the different things that are coming about within the real estate sector in India.
Thank you. Ajay, Nandika, if there's nothing else I'd like to add.
I can quickly add a couple of points on a very broad level. I think if I were to just get down to the deeper level in terms of what is it exactly that we do. So one is we need to understand for every project that we are looking at the vision and the objective of the developer, starting with that in terms of what is it that he set out to make. We need to basically, we, of course, part of it, we tend to visit certain projects also. Besides that, observing, various features, amenities, etc., comparing them analyzing one project compared to the other. So it's the process requires us to do all of this, and that's what really also goes behind the scenes.
Thank you. Now, all of you have been appointed because of your diverse expertise in the industry. Yet your in-depth knowledge means that you will have your own preferences in materials, designs, and so on. So our question is, how do you ensure that you remain unbiased during the process? Nandika, would you like to go first?
Well, as an architect, I definitely have my design biases. So, but see, other than being active in the industry, I have also been a examiner and a tutor for the design schools. So one of the trainings that you go through in that is that you look at the design from the perspective of the designer, and you learn to appreciate certain things that they're trying to achieve. So this we actually always need to bring into this judging panel, because we do not let our own personal design biases get in the way of it. We look at what they're trying to achieve and how well they have achieved it, as well as the functionality of the whole thing. And I think that is the way to approach it.
If I may add one thing on that, I think from an integrity point of view, one of the most important elements is that there is a independent auditor who audits all the entries as well as our judging process, inclusive but not limited to also visiting some of the sites as part of the judging process. So I think that is one way in terms of where we avoid the bias. The second scenario is that there are various documentation on compliance that we need to fill up in case there is any conflict of interest of our association with certain projects. Unlike India, which is a much more larger geography, Sri Lanka is a very, very small place. Everybody knows everybody. Myself and Nandika, at times we bump into some of the same projects at the same venue in our day job. But nevertheless, it's also about appreciating the dynamics of the project, the vision, and also what they want to achieve from a customer positioning point of view. So yes, there can be situations in which it's been difficult due to the preconceived notions that we may have, but nevertheless, that's where the professionalism of the judging panel comes into play, and more importantly, the structured process in which PropertyGuru has to ensure that these issues are minimized is what differentiates the overall awards program.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmal. Earlier, Ms. Shraddha mentioned about integrating work from home. I think amongst everybody, I'm like the least person with the knowledge in real estate. How do you integrate working from home in this in the field of real estate? Because I love working from home. I get to be with my dog 24/7.
So this is something we've seen in a few residential projects, whether it is the parts of India that I work in is North India. And we're seeing that there is a provision being made within residential projects which are coming up for the work from home concept, as well as a co-working space being available within the residential building for people who want to get away from that home, as well as be able to work within the building and not have to go to office. So it's a hybrid work from home residential complex, if that makes sense. So that's interesting things coming up. Whether that is here to stay, we don't know, but it's an innovation because of the necessity.
Any of the judges would like to add to that? Feel free to jump in.
I'd just like to add a point here. I think with the pandemic coming in, a lot of people moved to work from home as a way of working, which then moved to work from anywhere, and for people moving to cities or places which were not really home, but you still being able to work. And then now I think the buzzword is more about a hybrid way of working. there are a lot of people who are still wanting to get back and work from office. So that's also a new kind of a trend which is really coming in. But the good thing is that it's seen in a lot of innovation. And to add to what Shraddha just mentioned, besides the configuration of homes being changed to be able to allow work from home, we are also seeing a new kind of a trend of boutique office spaces in residential areas, where developers are wanting to make small offices for people who would like to work from home but can't work from home, so they can hop on to the next building, which is a boutique office building, and work from them, which is really close to home. I'm sorry. So these are, there are interesting trends coming up from this culture, broadly speaking.
Thank you. This is the reason why I want to work from home, everyone. Okay, he's going to make a short appearance, put a smile on everyone's faces. For our next question, on the process itself, in the voting period, for instance, you are all unable to decide between two projects. How do you make the final decision? And does the chairperson have the final say? Chairperson Amit, would you like to go answer that, please?
Yeah, happy to answer that, Tina. So I think one of the reasons we have a diverse panel is to make an objective decision. And the decision typically is not weighed or anchored on one individual's preference, including the chairperson. Which also, by the way, solves for your earlier question on bias. So even if one individual has a strong bias on a project, that doesn't necessarily reflect on the decision. So I would say it's a very well thought out procedure of selection of judges, participation in the voting, which is equal by everyone. And don't forget there is also an overseer above us who's also making sure that the process is run as per gold standards.
Yeah, I call it the double D approach, Tina. It's deliberation and debate. I think that's the key in terms of ensuring that we do justice to the project, because we need to be mindful that each and every nominee or participant has done wonderful work, and it's only fair that we evaluate all of them in its merit, and also ensure that we get the feedback from each and every member of the jury or the awards team, simply because not only on the diversity that they bring into the table, but also in certain areas where there are certain categories, like mentioned earlier, on sustainability, in terms of the environment, the greener buildings, etc., which requires a little bit more than the documentations which get submitted. So that needs to be really thought about, and you need to have a deeper conversation on it. But end of the day, it's about consensus. It's about, in very simple terms, negotiated diplomacy in terms of getting the final outcome.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmal. If you don't have anything more to add, I'd like to go to the next question. You have all been evaluating the work and accomplishments of leading players in the industry for the past few years. So please tell us, what is it that makes this role worthwhile to you?
As Dr. Nirmal said, it's been a privilege to be able to be a judge on this and to be able to get access to all the various projects that are coming up across India in the various categories, whether it's the developer, the development, or the design. And it's been also interesting to see the trends that are developing. It's been interesting to see the kind of projects that are, being appreciated by a larger audience. So I would say that has been the biggest, that's been the most interesting part of the judging process.
Yeah. So, I'd like to put an interesting point here. See, from, like I mentioned earlier, I run a property brokerage firm. So we look at projects from a very different perspective, mainly from a saleability perspective. What is it that the customer wants? But by being part of this platform, it's given me a whole new dimension in terms of how I should look at a project from a very 360-degree perspective, if I can put it that way, right from the construction, or rather right from the planning to the construction to the completion to the sustainability part of it. So that's something which interests me quite a lot. I'm able to look at projects from a very, very different dimension, which is very interesting for me.
Chairperson Amit, please feel free to add anything.
So I think the only other thing I'll add to Shraddha and Ajay is that the last 2-3 years have actually been virtual for us to a large extent, and we've been evaluating projects online. And the efficiency of technology and the ability to virtually travel all over India to see projects has been, tremendously enlightening as well, because not only do you get to see details of maps through technology-enabled solutions, but you also get to see the completed projects, schematics, everything in one place, just sitting in the comfort of your office or home. So that also is a great learning experience, and you end up doing a lot more than what you would have done if you were doing it physically.
Thank you, Chair. And then as an architect, Nandika, why do you think the role is so important to you as a judge?
Actually, I would agree. See, the work itself is voluntary, but on one hand, it's our duty to contribute. I consider it my duty to contribute to the industry, spending that time. But secondly, it gives the opportunity of studying the best projects in the country at the moment. So at any moment. And there's always a learning experience for me. Something to take away.
Seeing all of you devote your time for free to our awards program, what are you most looking forward to at this year's gala presentation?
I think from my perspective, I'm looking at how developers across the region are being resilient amidst the global economic scenario, as well as overcoming the impact of the pandemic, to see how they have redefined their own business models so that they can be more relevant in the industry. I'm also looking at how they come up with innovative approaches to design to stand out from the rest. As I mentioned earlier, it's without a shadow of doubt that this is probably the gold standard when it comes to awards and recognition for hard work and commitment. So there is definitely stiff competition year on year, and I believe this year is going to be no different.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmal. Ajay, Chairperson Amit, what are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, so Tina, I think one of the things that we realized when we met the PropertyGuru team in India a few months back is there is absolutely more joy in meeting people in 3D than 2D. So absolutely looking forward to that. And like Dr. Silva said, the whole optimism, and I'm hoping all the bad news is behind us now. So the optimism that not just the judges, but even the developers and the PropertyGuru team would perhaps have in place at the gala is something that I'm really looking forward to.
Ajay, did you want?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm really looking forward to witness the culmination of the best projects from multiple spectrums from different countries, all coming together at one platform, sharing of best practices and experiences. I think it's going to be an amazing experience to meet the best minds in the business from so many countries and interact and engage and learn from all of them.
This year, we heard that India is looking to recognize leading developers expanding assets with categories such as the best operational office portfolio. Yet the work from home policy that was implemented during the COVID period is predicted to stay in the long run. Do you agree with this? If yes, how will offices survive in the future?
Broadly, I see things moving to a very hybrid mode. The way technology is advancing at such a fast pace is changing the way people interact, engage, and connect with each other. Because of that, depending on the role and depending on the kind of work that you're doing, you may want to physically be available or present in the office or wherever you need to be, or you can do it remotely also. I keep chatting with a lot of people who've been on the work from home mode for a fair bit of time and now getting back, and then there are still a lot of people who still prefer that way. So depending on the kind of work that they're doing, there is still a large percentage of people who want to continue from work from home. Reasonable amount of people who would want to be mobile, and a very, very large section of people who I see who are wanting to get back to work from office, or have already got back rather, in fact. So it's going to be hybrid to a large extent, I feel.
I think we touched upon this earlier as well, but talking a little bit more on the commercial real estate side, and more so from the need of the client, if I may say. So what we've seen is that, of course, there is a hybrid work from home model that is developing, and some companies are adopting that and some not. But those who are looking at getting their employees back to work are looking at innovative office spaces as well. We're hearing well-being in a very big way. Now, developers are expected to provide that within the office complex. And it is also something which is not superficial. It's being used. It's being utilized very well, in fact. And even within the office spaces that are being, or the commercial real estate that is being designed, it's being designed in a way to keep certain COVID protocols in check, but in a very aesthetically appealing manner, if that makes sense. And looking at, working from office in a sort of new and innovative way.
Chairperson Amit, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah. So the only thing I would add is that I think India as a country was always about, working out of home. And if you were not working out of office and not working out of home, and if you were not working out of office, you were considered to be not working at all. And I think this entire work from home and COVID period has changed mindsets to that extent. I think from an employer perspective, whether it be an Indian company or a multinational, there's more acceptability for people to work out of any location. The metric has changed from number of hours you spend at work to productivity and to deliverables. And again, technology has been a great enabler. I mean, for us to be in different countries right now and be on the same screen, logging in at the single click of a button, has its own benefits.
Sri Lanka, on the other hand, is currently going through a crisis. How do you think this awards program will aid in the recovery of the industry?
I'll probably try to change the terminology from crisis to a cycle. And we've seen that over the last 3 to 4 decades in the country. I think first and foremost, it's challenging times. I think it's survival of the most agile. It used to be survival of the fittest, but it's survival of the most agile at the moment. It requires developers and the industry players to really relook at their strategies and the model. So I think by being able to showcase some of the projects in Sri Lanka to a more wider audience, it will give not only the comfort to the developers that their projects are recognized, but also potentially gain some marketing mileage as well to sell their projects as well to a global audience. I think the other advantage of a platform like PropertyGuru from a Sri Lankan perspective is that the government of Sri Lanka has introduced what we call the Golden Paradise Visa program for strategic real estate investments coming into the country, ranging from $75,000 onwards for 5 to 10 year visa scheme. So that will also be a great opportunity to showcase certain projects and also get investors to once again relook at the pearl of the Indian Ocean. I think that's where the opportunity lies.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmal. Nandika, once again, how do you think the awards program will aid in the recovery?
So construction industry has always been one of the greatest contributors to our GDP. And we also have this fantastic placement in the region. And to become a trade and tourism hub for recreation. So we have that capacity. But the only problem is that construction industry has suffered. Like Dr. Nirmal said, in this particular cycle, we were hit by two things. One is COVID actually crunching down on the construction industry as well as the fuel crisis. So that has impacted us a lot. But I feel that the potential that I was talking about is still there. And a certain depreciation of the LKR is not actually a not actually too detrimental in this sense, because we are looking at opening up those investment opportunities to external investors. And that would be the best time for them to actually come in. Only issue that we are facing right now is that we need to have a solution for the fuel and LP gas crisis, because that I look at as a crisis, because if we have a solution for that for a number of months or a year at least, then actually things can start moving smoothly. And personally, I know a number of investors who are just ready to step in until we face this particular crunch with especially the fuel situation. So construction industry is mostly affected by the fuel and the fuel factor, because for the foreign investment, that a certain devaluation of the LKR is actually advantageous. So this would be the best time to actually get them in. So in that sense, I think this exposure in the international arena would be very, very valuable to the country at the moment. I mean, we'll be showcasing our developments, the potentials to the entire world.
Thank you so much, judges. Now, before we end this episode, may we have our chairpersons invite our leading developers and designers to participate in the 2022 edition of the PropertyGuru Asia Property Awards India and PropertyGuru Asia Property Awards Sri Lanka.
So thank you, Tina. I look forward to all our developers across the country to participate very enthusiastically in this year's award show. It'll not just give you a chance to be highlighted, not just within India, but also on a global platform among peers from the industry. But it will also give you a chance to benchmark yourself against what your peers are doing, and perhaps give you a little bit of a boost to compete vigorously, not just in the award show, but also on your projects.
Thank you, Chairperson Amit. Dr. Nirmal?
Yeah, I think this is a unique opportunity for Sri Lankan real estate developers and industry professionals once again to come on board on this fabulous global platform to showcase their competencies, projects, and also differentiate themselves amidst its regional peers. And this time is going to be much unique during challenging times. I believe it's the best opportunity to really showcase what you have done, because that will give you the necessary PR marketing support, which is much needed to ensure that your inventory is sold. So this is a earnest appeal to Sri Lankan developers. Really look at the opportunity, capitalize on it. You will be recognized amidst the best of the best. There's a lot to learn, a lot of opportunities to network as well, and collaboration as well. The world is becoming a smaller place, and collaboration is the key moving forward. And I think it's a great platform, and looking forward to seeing all of you all coming up with your entries, not only for the current projects, but some of the prospective projects also that we are very well aware of that you are focused on.
Once again, our deepest appreciation to all our judges for generously devoting your time and expertise to our awards program. We would also like to remind everyone that nominations are open until the 2nd of September, so be sure to send in your entries on time. Submissions are accepted at asiapropertyawards.com. Special shout out to our partners this year: official magazine PropertyGuru Property Report, official ESG partner Bandek Foundation, official cable TV partner History Channel, official PR partner for Sri Lanka PR Wire, official partner for India it's Flashman Hillard, and official supervisor HLB. There you have it, the distinguished judging panel of the PropertyGuru Asia Property Awards India and PropertyGuru Asia Property Awards Sri Lanka. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next episode.